Recording.
Recording in progress.
Progress. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse podcast, where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing. We're here to change the dialogue and stigma around what it means to feel good or be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. We often talk about things that people don't want to talk about. However, they're really, really important subjects because we need to decrease stigma around a lot of these things for healing. So 2020 and 2021 was the year of the nurse and the midwife, and we've been highlighting and illuminating cannabis nurses and health professionals across the globe. It's because we are truly in revolutionary times where we're changing how we approach and take care of patients. Now, we all don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go into the cannabis industry. You know, there's usually a compelling story that goes along with the plunge. And so what makes someone enter into the cannabis space as a nurse? And what motivates a nurse to create a retreat using cannabis? So I'm really, really excited to introduce to you Green Nurse Denise Costello. She's a cannabis nurse, stress reduction expert, and creator of the Energized Body, which is trademarked. She teaches cutting-edge holistic approach to achieve optimal health and happiness. Denise has over 30 years experience in the medical field, working as a veteran Air Force flight nurse, nurse coordinator at Winchester Hospital Breast Care Center. And she's founder of the Energized Body Nutrition System and co-founder of Costello Meditation Center. Throughout her career, Denise noticed the number one most devastating factor on health is stress. As a result, she was determined to learn and share the most effective and natural ways to bring calm and healing back to the body, which is why she is so passionate about educating about the power and safe efficacy of cannabis and other natural high vibe modalities so people can get off their medications, stay off the hospital, heal their bodies, and live fun, fulfilling lives. Yeah. So tonight we're going to discuss what it means to live an energized life using cannabis and what led Denise to create Energized Green Nurse Retreats. And really, really excited. We have our first retreat coming up on September 10th, 11th, and 12th. So welcome, Denise. You were just here this morning.
I popped in this morning, said hello. I just can't stay away from you, my girl.
Oh, I know. We're just doing some good stuff. You know, this plant, wisdom of plant medicine has truly taken hold of us and has led us into these creative endeavors to bring health and wellness into a different area, different way than what we're used to experiencing it. You know, and what I find so fascinating, Denise, is you know, you were a Gulf War veteran, Air Force flight nurse. Mm-hmm. Now you're a holistic green nurse at Holistic Caring Network, you know, with your own Energized Living business. And so that's pretty impactful, you know, and I just want to say thank you for stepping up to the plate to decrease stigma, really. And for getting on the bus and really embracing, you know, the spirit of plant medicine.
Yes, thank you. You know, it has been a little journey. It definitely has. I mean, just even stepping in from being, you know, going into the military, you know, that was my first kind of plunge into really like tapping into and feeling what was driving me, like what was my intuition telling me. You know, here I was going to an all-girls Catholic college, Cincinnati, Ohio, very traditional situation. Okay, you can just picture it, right? And never thought about the military. The military was not cool in the 80s at all. And we, you know, it was not even talked about as an option in my family. And, you know, they came and gave a luncheon and they were looking for, they were opening up an internship because they wanted to open up its obstetric units. And I wanted to be a nurse practitioner in women's health. And they had, you know, a program. And I was like, so do I have to go to boot camp? And they're like, nope, medical people don't. If you are accepted into this internship program, you go in as an officer, we'll move you. And I go, you mean I'm guaranteed? They go, well, if you get into the internship and I only owe 3 years, and I could still go to get my training to be a nurse practitioner if I wanted. I'm like, what is the catch here? This sounded amazing. And the funny thing is my parents were out of town. The board was meeting. I had to, he goes, if you're interested, you got to jump in now, get your physical, etc. And my friends thought I was insane. You're what? What are you doing? And I was like, look, I'm just applying. Don't worry. I'm just applying. But I look back, I had no support at all. This was truly something I felt inside, like, I want to do this, or at least I want to explore it. I am open and I want to explore it. I'm not going to block this opportunity out because of some judgments or beliefs I might have, about it. So I wanted to see. And lo and behold, I got accepted, obviously. And by the time I was waiting, I really did my research and I really decided I want to do this. Like, this makes total sense. So, flash forward, what really got me into more of a holistic approach was, as I was working in the Air Force, I had you have additional jobs. You're not just working in the hospital, you have to do a lot of other things. And I was a health promotion officer. And this was back in the 80s, like mid 80s, when we were just starting to understand the impact of lifestyle and our choices. The choices that we make can have an impact on our health. And I was like, I want to keep people out of the hosptal. That was really important to me. And I wanted to help motivate people and show them, like, look, it's not that hard. You can do this. And let me help you and show you how to do this. And they even had me do these silly little commercials. Imagine. So
we love doing silly little commercials, don't we, Denise?
I know we do. You can't take me away from that. So I went in and, started heading down the path, got my master's. And in the meantime, I met my husband, and he was an Air Force Navy pilot, excuse me. You didn't like me to say that. And it turned out he was stationed in Chicago, where I could get my master's, and I had gotten out of the Air Force, and I got a slot to be a flight nurse. And that was a very difficult position to get in. So that was a very coveted thing. And the unit was right there in Chicago, and everything was falling into place. It was fabulous. And then Desert Storm happened. And I was like, I remember my mother, like, you're not going into the military. Oh my gosh, why are you doing this? What if there's a war? I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're going to send the reservists. We're not going to, we're going to take care of things at home. So don't worry, and then this is what happened. So it was really fascinating. Just the whole process, we were engaged to be married, and I didn't know, that was back when the last war was Vietnam. We had no frame of reference. And this war was all about chemical warfare, and I really didn't know. I didn't know if I was coming back alive.
I'm going to tell you, that was a quote that I wanted, this quote was so it moved me to tears. I was like, I had flashbacks to my years as a young nurse deployed to Desert Storm. I was newly engaged, beginning a master's program, and suddenly I was sent to war. All the rules, training, and preparation seemed of little help in a war where I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if I was going to return.
Yeah, it was
right.
We went to the priest. We were thinking about getting married, before, and then I was like, why? It's not going to change anything. But I, wore a little gold ring, and yeah, it blew me away, because I'm this, positive and, thinking forward, just things will work out. And so that really did rock my world. And it almost felt like I look at that experience as my first COVID.
You go.
It was like my first COVID, because you had no idea what's going to go on. You really had all the things that you trained for, all of the experiences, everything was just like, zoop, you have no idea. And COVID, it was the first time I made that realization too, because COVID was bringing up some of these feelings that I was feeling when I was in Desert Storm.
That post-traumatic stress, right?
Exactly. And I will never forget. So when you first go, there's a sense of security because you're with your unit, we all train together and we know each other's moves and strengths and weaknesses. And we were as a group. Well, one night they pulled 5 of us away. There's a secret mission. We can't tell you where you're going. And they pulled me and 4 other people away from our group. And they're like, you're going on this plane. We can't tell you where you're going. And I was just like, oh my God. Then it really felt real to me. I'm like, I am not in Kansas anymore. This is a real war. Looking out the plane, I'm on a C-130. The types of plane that we flew on is a C-130. That type of plane can land in the sand, and it's the first echelon of care. So our role, as a flight nurse, you have different roles depending on the type of plane that you're on. The C-130 is you fly in, our job was to follow the 1st and 2nd Marine Division as a ground war was starting. So we would follow when things would, we would have casualties or things. We would be the first ones to fly in, kind of do a triage.
MASH.
We were like MASH. We were almost pre-MASH. So we would patch them up and then bring them to a MASH unit where they had like a tent hospital.
Oh my God. You were like a paramedic in the war fields.
Yeah. But we did have a tent, we landed that night. It was pitch dark. We couldn't see. You're with all these other people you had never worked with, trying to put these tents up. You can hear, the sounds of firing. You can smell the smoke in the distance. It was dark, cold. And, we did it. We put up our tents and then you were like kind of waiting, for things to happen. And it was.
How much sleep did you get?
Yeah, right. Exactly. They were like, I'll never forget the little Marine. He came. This was after we were there for a little while. And God, I love the Marines. I have so much respect for them. So much respect for them. Never complain. Never. They are just like forward. We were away. We didn't even have any security. We were our own security. Can you imagine? Like, yes, I was taught how to shoot an M16. Do you think I did that much? No. So we had our technicians like standing because we had no security around. So when the Marine came, we're like, oh, yay. And he's like, the ground war is starting in 24 hours. Get some sleep. We're like, he goes, get your chem warfare gear out, everything lined out. They probably, are going to be contaminated. And I knew if that happened,
really,
we were gone, because who's going to wait patiently in line to decontaminate you? They're going to contaminate us. The whole system was ridiculous,
wow.
How the process, and you have your mask and all the gear. And I was just like, okay.
So, Denise, I've known you for a while now. And that's the first time I've heard that story. That's really, really, wow.
Yeah, it was
like in movies. It's like, and just to think that, you know what I mean? Like, and so how, when you came back from that, right? You serve your time and you come back,
right.
You just got to think about processing all the stuff.
All of that. And I never really thought about it. Like I said, it bubbled up again with COVID. Like all of this stuff bubbled up because it was this unknown, this enclosure, and you kind of freeze a little bit. And I did. I was like, oh my gosh. So my little trusty rosary, of course, that grounded me. I was so grateful for my faith. And, when you are packing up to go, it's like, what do you bring? I had my
God with you.
I had my little rosary, with me. Thank goodness. And, and as I look back on it at all, like I mentioned earlier, as I established, my Energized Living is based on 4 pillars.
Yes. I was just going to ask you that. Yes.
4 P's, right? So that I was realizing as I look back, that first P was prayer, prayer, and just dropping in, like laying your soul out, but giving over. I knew I had no control over
Surrendering.
the situation. I had to surrender. And I felt that even like, with, the COVID situation, same thing. Like I had to surrender over, not overthink it and just like be in the presence,
But
of God.
this is my little prayer. Show me, guide me, direct me, help me to serve. How can I be the best version of myself? Live my best life, help others do the same. It's like literally, and my prayer, same, show me the way to peace, help me to be the face of peace, help me
Right.
stay grounded, present in the moment, taking care of myself so I can help take care of others.
Exactly.
That's the prayers. Those are prayers. And you don't have to be religious to pray.
No, not at all.
We're going to
Not
get into a little woo.
a little woo, because we're all energetic beings, right? And if we are tapped into that energy, it's provided for us to receive, to use every minute of the day, all the time.
Yeah. And
Be that part of our soul, of our body.
And it's
right?
asking, you're asking, what's one of the things that we do, and we actually didn't do it tonight. It's so funny because we had some technical difficulties. Maybe if we did the prayer, usually I start off a prayer before every single one of my shows. And I literally, I pray and I say, may the best version of myself come forth in this moment in time so I can reach the most people to help you. Right. And I ask for angels to come in, help complete my sentences if I'm not making sense. Right. So really turning on the dialogue. And let me tell you, having those conversations is so much better than the negative self chatter.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Oh,
So
absolutely. And I'm going to tell you a little story at Desert Storm that illustrates this. Okay. So the ground war started and we did not have, like, we were expecting about 300 casualties. That's what they said. Expect about 300 or so coming through. And it was dribbles. It wasn't this big thing. And it was the Iraqis. It was, we had prisoners of war. So again, like we weren't even taking care of our own people. We were taking care of the Iraqis because they were tired. They were hungry. They had no, boots, they were just like tattered, and they wanted food and help. So I'm like, okay, now we're taking care of the enemy and we have people with guns like guarding all of us. And I, as a flight nurse, you have only 2 flight nurses on a big plane of like 60 patients. Okay. And you have your technicians as your assistant. And then there's one flight nurse who's in charge, and then one's the assistant. And I was like, I'll do anything. I just still want to be in charge. And the girl's like, you're in charge of this mission. I'm like, wow. It was like, oh my God, I was so scared, really. And I was just like, okay, just get me through this. And, the Iraq, there was no communication. They're freaking out because their IVs are backing up and they're like, I was like, just get us to this place and land. So we fly to like the MASH unit, right?
Yep.
And we land and like, phew, they're not my responsibility anymore. I made it without anybody dying and, all that. They are not my responsibility. So I was like, whew. So then I'm thinking, so I had my best friend, Tammy Link, who was my good friend in the Azores, and we were roommates, and she stayed in active duty and she was stationed in Germany. And I knew she was a flight nurse, but I didn't know where she was. We didn't have cell phones. We had no way of communication, right? So I land there and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask, what harm would it be if I asked if Captain Tammy Link was here? And so I did. And I was like, hey, does anybody happen to know a Captain Tammy Link? They're like, oh yeah, she just left the unit. She's down the road. I was like, what? My best friend right here, right now?
Right in the middle of the war.
Thank you, dear Lord. I look at that was such a beautiful gift. It was like my mini miracle. But had I not asked or had a belief, like to me, that's part of the 4th P is play. Being open, being like, just open to any expectation. Don't have expectations. Like, just try something on for size. If I would have been in the mindset of like, okay, here we are, we're like, oh, this is so awful, I don't know anybody, I'm like, da 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 da, like, there's just no way. Like, if I would not have done that, I never ever would have had that experience of, connecting with her.
Yeah, I know.
It was the most amazing reunion. And so as I look back, there were so many things, through that whole experience that, in the end, just illustrated the importance of
Asking for help, prayer,
asking for help.
dialoguing with the unseen world.
Dialoguing.
Here it is. Just
here it
because
is.
you can't see the unseen world doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Woohoo, woohoo. Right. Anyways, so I love that. So prayer, surrendering, play, being open. What are the other P's?
The other P is positive thinking, positive mindset, right? So that falls in there, as well. So, the protection is the third P. So protection has to do with what you eat, what you're, keeping toxins out, movement, music, how we
Endocannabinoid system.
Exactly, the endocannabinoid system. Exactly. So as I was looking around the first part of the Desert Storm, we were like, there was a lot of waiting before I got sent on that mission. And, medical reservists aren't in the best shape, right? There was a lot of reservists that had never even been in active duty. They were working in the hospital, and they were offering their, which was beautiful, right? But I'm looking around and like, some of them are pretty out of shape, out of weight. And at the time I was in this, exercise science, corporate wellness, master's program. So I'm like, I'm going to try. How about I have my little Walkman. I said, let's get some music on. I'm going to lead you guys through, like dance, like aerobic thing. And so here we were in the middle of the desert, was doing aerobics, helping them, to do that. So you can apply all of these tools, no matter where you are, and just like, you can make it happen.
Absolutely. Well, you showed me through our work jams, their little hugs and nubs, tips and tricks about how you can take care of your endocannabinoid system. Like we get together, we would do that hanging meditation, we would do journey dancing, right?
Yeah.
So really fun stuff, just little bits, you take the time to take care of yourself, you immerse yourself in work. So constantly taking care of yourself. And then the productivity, I learned, pulling away instead of setting those timers and really putting yourself first. The hour of power being broken up into 5 and 10 minute segments throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right? And taking care of yourself with prayer, play, positive mindset, protection, and incorporating the different tools. Really, really good stuff, Denise. And the part that I really like too is how this is evolving in our lives and with the patients that we work with, is even through my own story too, is as a sick, I was, I had chronic illness, sick and suffering. I became a medical patient. And then through working with plant phytocannabinoids and all of the other tools that support and nourish the endocannabinoid system, I was able to come off of medication and really start to engage in life again. And then it became a lifestyle. So do I consume cannabis? Yeah, I use it all day, every day, multiple different ways, all the time. Yeah. But it's a lifestyle, right? It's allowing me, like I say all the time, to live my best life, right, and to help others do the same, right? So Canna-Wellness, Canna lifestyle, and how you morphed that into Energized Living, which is really, really cool. Moving from the medical, treating chronic illness, treating symptoms of chronic illness is great. But then when you get to a different stage, so people can enter into Energized Living at any point in time. You don't have to be a medical cannabis patient, right? You can be anyone. And being able to learn how to incorporate these tips and tricks into your daily routine so you can feel better, right? Everything that we do or don't do in our lives affects our endocannabinoid system. We're either supporting it or we're not.
Absolutely. I mean, and the point is, it's like everything is available to us to heal and grow right here through our connection to God and spirit. our connection to ourselves, our own, our own soul, our own energy, our mind, and our intuition, and then Mother Earth. We have it all here. It's not that hard. It doesn't need to be that hard. It's how you choose to receive it, and integrate it into your life that's going to make the difference of whether you're leaning towards illness or you're leaning towards health and happiness.
Exactly.
And I think that we get so caught up with, oh, you got to do everything this way or that way, and if you don't eat perfectly, you're a mess, and that's not good, or you can't, dancing and things like that, that's foo-foo, that doesn't help anything. Well, no,
It works. I'm going to tell you.
it's all working together. It's not one thing or the other. And that's what I love about about cannabis and cannabinoids. All these different cannabinoids have different ways of just tapping into our whole body. That endocannabinoid system, so beautiful.
It is. And Elizabeth Mack says it so beautifully. She calls it, it's a pleiotropic. So we look at our little friggin' umbrella right here, right? And the endocannabinoid system is our body. The spokes of the umbrella are our organ systems, our immune system, the fabric that surrounds it, the neurotransmitter signaling systems. The endocannabinoid system blankets on top of our entire umbrella because we have cannabinoid receptors on the cell surfaces of all of our organ systems. We have endocannabinoid receptors on the neurotransmitter signaling junction sites. And we produce internal endogenous cannabinoids very similar to the plant. So we don't have an endocannabinoid system because of the plant. We have an endocannabinoid system because we make things like the plant. That's right. The part that's so cool. And if we don't make enough of our own, what happens? Well, guess what? We don't get showered on. Messages don't get to the spokes of the umbrella. Messages don't get to the fabric pieces of the umbrella. And then what happens is our body's trying to figure it out on its own. And without the proper tools, it doesn't do a good job. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's so right. And, my heart goes out to our vets that are dealing with PTSD. And like Dr. Ethan Rousseau, notices that people with PTSD had a depleted endocannabinoid system.
Yes.
So it can be so simple, to, be able to nourish that and help people through all this. Right.
Yeah. So this is going to lead into the next part, which I'm getting really, really excited to talk about, is about Green Nurse Retreat. So what Denise invited me on, this is going to be really great. So in June, it was the end of June, Janet McAllister, Hippie Chicks, Canna-Cation, they in Dexter, Maine, at the Tyler Ides Inn, had a weekend, an entire cannabis immersed weekend. It was called Canna-Cation. And so Denise said, let's go. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Green Nurse on the go. Yeah. And having no idea what to expect, because in the end, what, Denise was thinking, and it just made perfect sense, is as nurses, it's really, really important for patients, people, and providers to have these experiences, to have experiential learning. And what a great way to do it in a setting filled with nurses, right? That are actually medical cannabis patients that consume cannabis, not only to treat conditions of chronic illness, but as a wellness and a lifestyle. So we know how to pair cannabinoids with other activities for enjoyment. So we went to Canna-Cation with an open mind, no idea. And I'm going to let Denise share because I consume cannabis a lot. I mean, it's part of my health and wellness, and I do use it to recreate, and I'm not ashamed of that because I prefer. It does add a little bit extra giggle and a little bit fun, and I have more little creativity. I choose to use cannabis in social settings as opposed to alcohol or any other drugs. And so basically we were going to have this weekend, and this was Denise's first time being completely immersed. So I want you to share, what were you fearful of, and what was your experience like?
Well, at first I was fearful I was curious more than anything about just what it would be like to have an infused meal. I'm a foodie too. So I love, food. And so that intrigued me, like, how are they doing? But what really, I was worried because I am somebody who will, fall asleep at the end of a meal, just a regular meal, sometimes. So I was like, I don't want to be like stoned out of my gourd, and I want to be able to engage in the conversation, and I don't want to be like zoned out for the dinner. So I was like a little concerned about that, and it didn't happen at all. It was a way that they blended. You can if you have lemon, it helps to kind of calm, the terpenes in the lemon help to counteract some of the psychoactive aspect of the THC, in the cannabis. And, when we're saying cannabis, we're talking about CBD as well as THC, all the different cannabinoids.
So this has to do with the infused meals, because every single meal was infused. Yes. And what I really liked how they did it was you knew exactly what was infused and what wasn't. And they did a lot of sauces, right? So the added ingredients, the salad dressing or the sauce or the honey or the syrup or whatever, the dip, the accompaniment that you would add to your food. So people had a choice as to how much that they would want to put on their food, butter. What else did they have? And then they had big giant containers of water that was filled with lemon. And they actually had a terpene wine. Remember that?
Terpene wine. I remember that. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So basically really looking, and I'm going to tell you, I'm like I said, I'm a cannabis consumer, and I was perfect. It wasn't, and I know. And so if new people that were new there that had never done it before, they could get in big trouble. So, but the innkeeper and Janet from Hippie Chicks, they were really, really good about bringing the food out, about educating about why they paired this food with that food and why they did things a certain way, and, really encourage the start low, go slow. And I thought it was a huge success, the meals, don't you?
Oh, it was wonderful, and I didn't fall asleep. And it was delicious. And just like you said, and I felt like I had control over the situation. You know what I mean? I felt like I was in perfect control of myself and the evening. And a lot of that had to do with, we could judge how much we wanted, to put into our food. So that was really wonderful. The other thing that I really enjoyed about that experience was just the fact that, I was still plagued with a lot of the stigma still, even though I know I did the deep dive and I'm learning more about this. I'm kind of playing with it, experimenting and trying different things, but it's still, it's hard, so it was nice to go to a place where you are with other people and you're like, hey, show me how to do a dab. I've never done that,
Bobby Nuggs. So we were with Bobby Nuggs and Bill, and they were great. Bobby Nuggs is a big guy, and he's the big dad. He is Dr. Dabber. And that was really great because he was wonderful at teaching about how to dab, what to dab, how to, right?
And you felt okay. You didn't feel like hiding, like you could enjoy, like I learned how to roll a joint and, smoke and try different varieties. It was nice to try different varieties, just like you're trying a fine wine, and like, that was really fun to me. It was like, oh, let me try this one. This is supposed to give you this type of a feeling.
Right.
And what the other aspect, what came away with me with this experience is like, this would pair so well with all the energized living practices perfectly, because like I said, I've been introducing cannabis into my energized living, and I'm a big meditator, dance, yoga, all of that as part of my practices. And the cannabis, I'm finding, is allowing me to go so much deeper.
Oh, yeah.
Have a more wonderful experience in these different practices. So it was lovely to have in the morning to be able to have the cannabis, kind of play with that with I had a longer meditation, then to go into the hot tub afterwards, after the yoga. So it was this whole, really well-rounded experience, that you were able to pull all the tools together.
Right. It was great. So you think about, so it was cannabis infused meals. There was a fire pit where we would sit around the fire, listen to music, which was wonderful. There was a hot tub that you could go in at any point in time that you wanted to. There was food that was available. So all your meals were included, but there was also snacks and fruit and drinks available at all times. There is the backyard. There was a hammock in the backyard. There was an area to play volleyball.
Yeah.
There was also in the downstairs, they call it the man cave. There's a consumption lounge. So they have state-of-the-art ventilation system in there. Oh my God, it was really cool. I mean, we're talking like there's an old-fashioned jukebox down there, these big vibrating chairs, like just all kinds of really cool things. Pool table, Christmas tree, big giant screen TV. And then right next to it is that cool little state-of-the-art, so you could sneak over into the consumption room. And so it was a really, really well thought out place, because it's a great place that you can go in the summertime and in the wintertime. There's so much to do. The other thing that they offered too at the Canna-Cation was massage, kayaking, right?
Yep.
And then they gave us, little tips and tricks if we wanted to do other things. And we did. Denise and I went to visit a dispensary in Maine. And the dispensary, you guys ready for this? Was a bus that was completely decorated in the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. Oh, it was so fun.
It was just like an ice cream truck. I was like, where's the dispensary? And they go, it's right there. It's like, that's the dispensary. It's great.
Great lemonade. Oh my gosh, that lemonade was so delicious.
It was. So the whole point is now, so we have this Canna-Cation experience, okay, which we loved, you loved. And then your idea just continued to manifest while we were there. Wow, wouldn't this be a great way to really, really educate people?
Yeah.
In a way where they can have the experience plus the knowledge, the research, and the stories to go with it, so they can bring that home with them. And it's not just about cannabis, it's about cannabis being paired with multiple different activities. So Denise, right now I want you to let our viewers know what to expect on Canna-Cation on September 10th, 11th, and 12th. What are they in for?
Oh my gosh. A wonderful experience. So you are going to walk up. We're going to be there to welcome you on this beautiful, gorgeous front table, porch. And we're going to just start first by just educating you about the endocannabinoid system. So you're going to get education so you understand what it's all about, how to use it, why, how it interacts with your body, right? And you'll be able to, maybe start, trying a little bit.
That's what's so great too. So on the front porch, when people arrive, there's going to be refreshments. And on the front porch, there's a little bar, right? So the little bar that's there has 3 jars of different types of cannabis, an indica, a sativa, and a hybrid. Also has little tiny containers of concentrate for people that want to dab. So when you arrive, you have all of that's there, the food's there, the innkeepers, they're wonderful. They're going to greet you and take you to your room. And it's just about settling in and hanging out on the front porch, getting to know everybody, settling into the space, right? And then we have dinner.
Right. And think about this too, like how nice that is after traveling.
Right.
A lot of traveling. And this, before you're leaving, you're kind of stressed, you're packing. And I think it's really, really important, like when you land, to really land.
Right.
And I will try to, if I do a lot, I even try to schedule a massage, on that day to just kind of wash out all the crazy stuff, so you can really be open to receive, what's available to you. So I love that whole scenario.
So the welcoming,
being able to drop in with a little bit of cannabis, feel relaxed. And then you're going to move into this wonderful meal. And
meal, right?
Used meal in this gorgeous old room that you have the nice china, and you just feel like so important and I mean, just so welcome.
And the part that's great about that piece of it, so we're going to have this beautiful infused meal. People, you're waited on. It's really lovely. You really feel spoiled. But the other part that we're going to add to that is we're going to add the education. So we have sponsors that are donating products. I'm going to do a plug right now for Ruben Marks of Irva. He's
good.
donating a ton of different products for our guests.
Yeah.
And we're going to have like, like you come to a birthday party, right? On your plate, there's going to be a prize, a cannabis surprise, right? So a cannabis surprise on your plate. It's going to be a product from a company. And what we're going to do is we're going to educate you on that particular product, how to take it. So for example, the first night's going to be Delta 8 gummies. I'll just give it away, right? Yeah. So everyone's going to get a little pack of Delta 8 gummies on the table, and we're going to have dinner. So the conversation is going to be around Delta 8 gummies consumption, how to consume, how much to consume, and really teach people the basics of consuming cannabis when you're going to eat it. And then the other, so that's just the example. So all the different meals that we have are going to be different product lines from different companies, and we're going to educate you on them and how to use them. And I think that that's going to be really, really cool.
That will be, and what to do if you consume too much, and how you can manage that. And I love the fact that Ruben is also including like CBG and some CBD products that flower, people don't know that you can smoke CBD, and so how you can mix that. So it's going to be really a well-rounded, it's not, it's all of the cannabinoids. I love that aspect. So you can understand of like how these different things can interact in your body.
Right. Yep. All the different methods of administration, all the consumption methods is going to be covered in this weekend. You're going to be able to see it all and experience it all, witness it. You'll watch us do it. And then if you care to have the experience, we'll be there to hold your hand.
Exactly.
Here's the thing is wine. If you want to learn how to use, we're all about safe consumption, right? We love cannabis. The last thing we want people to do is to try it and have a bad experience,
right?
Because we know this plant is such a miracle. So why not, right? Come in an environment where you're relaxed, you're chilled, it's private, you're with nurses, people that are taking care of you. And really want to teach you how to support and nourish your endocannabinoid system and have fun while we're doing it. So some of the other fun activities, Denise, that you have planned.
So we have a fire pit out there. And so I'm trying to get a drummer in. So we have a drum circle, and we may have that. That might happen. We're close.
But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter.
We'll
chant.
We'll chanting, we'll use that chanting vibration. We'll teach you some chanting and how we can do some sound resonating, that sort of thing.
And then the fire ceremony too. There is a way, full moon fire ceremony. You don't have to have a full moon. You can do a fire ceremony to the universe, right? So we have all of these different fun things that we want to introduce to people that have enriched our lives, right? It's time for more woo-woo to come out. And that's what we want to show you. We want to show you how to have fun.
We'll show you we'll have angel cards there, so we'll show you how to, to
oracle
those and oracles and different things like that. And one of my favorite things on the next night, we're going to do journey dance. And that is combining music with free flow movement that really helps you to get out of your head, get into your body and let it move through you and just experience to really get to kind of get to know yourself at a different level.
You've introduced me to journey dance and I was really blown away by it.
Yeah,
it's a really, really cool experience. And on my explanation of it is there's music that's put on and then there's instruction, and the instruction, it brings up an emotion, right? And you dance to that feeling that comes up to the vibration of the music. So it's really a very therapeutic, you're moving energy, right? You're moving energy and you're bringing up emotions and you're feeling them and you're moving it. And some of it, I mean, I was really blown away at how cool it was. One of my favorite ones was when we were on the ground on all fours and you said, we're going to be cats. And so we were dancing like cats on the floor.
Cats. Yeah.
Right.
I know it sounds crazy, but you're just like, you feel like that floor feels amazing too, just rolling on my back. And our bodies hold on to trauma, it holds on to stress. And unless we are able to move it out and consciously, and the music and the vibration just allows you to get into that space. It is so profound. First time I experienced Journey Dance is at a event that we were putting on, and I was like, this is so therapeutic. I want to learn how to do this. And I just that right then signed up for the training because it was so powerful, so powerful. So we're going to have that. You get to experience that. And again, you're in a small space. Nobody, we don't care. You can be as crazy. It's good to be crazy and do whatever you want, right?
Yes.
And then in the morning, I'm going to lead you into a beautiful morning practice, a meditation, and how you can use, the cannabis to kind of help you to come in deeper and allow you to hold on to that anandamide molecule that we are secreting when we meditate and move, how we're able to keep that longer. So we're going to educate on how it interacts with your endocannabinoid system to help you, to deal with stress and just be able to really get into deep and to get into right into here to your soul, into your, right? And I'm going to provide just very simple practices, like I said, a morning practice, but also just a movement practice that incorporates a little bit of qigong and a little bit of yoga and movement that you can put into your morning or as a break in the middle of the day, when you're working on your computer and you need to take a 10-minute break. So all of these things are going to be provided. You're going to be able to walk away then with those tools that you can continue and tap into your own energized living lifestyle. Right. You're going to have these tools. You're going to have playlists and all these.
Yeah. So I'll review.
It's like a little mini course in energized living and cannabis. Like you're going to like an immersion, you're just dropping in, you get to experience it and feel it with guidance, right? It'll be a guidance.
Here it is.
Situation.
It's for everyone. It's for people that are medical cannabis patients. It's for people that are using cannabis as a wellness tool. It's for people that like to just enjoy cannabis recreationally. For whatever reason you use cannabis, the Energized Living Green Nurse Retreats is for you. So it's our first big one. It's on September 10th, 11th, and 12th up in Dexter, Maine at the Tyler Ides Inn. Janet McAllister from Hippie Chick Natural Solutions. She's providing the infused meals, the food, the cannabis, the gift packs. We also have sponsorship from Irva, Ruben Marks from Irva. He's donating a lot of products that we're going to educate on in our meals. And then Michelle Morris is also donating a nighttime little pack from Green Compass Global. And so what you're going to get on this Green Nurse Energized Living Retreat is this: infused meals, product gift packs donated by sponsors, meditation, journey dance, yoga, drumming, fire ceremony, water ceremony in the hot tub, cannabis nurse consultation, energy work, oracle cards, and optional massage and kayaking. So this is really, I'm telling you right now, I'm excited to go. It's a work
I can't wait
for me, but it's not going to feel like work.
I know it. We gotta have a weekend, like our most perfect weekend. If you could plan a weekend, like you would have all those things together. Right?
Exactly. So that's what it is. We're creating a weekend that we are really, really excited to participate in. And what we want to do is we want to invite you all along to come with us.
Exactly. And even if you're a physician or a healthcare professional that is curious about this or wants to understand a little bit better, so you know how to communicate this even with your patients, and because maybe you are, interested in being more of an educator in this. This would be a great place. You can meet us. You can see how things are done. You can, you've got us for the whole weekend,
We're there.
Exactly. And then
fun. Can't wait.
Yeah,
it's going to be good stuff. So that's our show. We're promoting the Green Nurse Energized Living Retreats because you know why? It's awesome and no one else is doing it. And we want to keep these people, you deserve to feel good, right? That's what we say. We all deserve to feel good. We're here to change the dialogue around what it means to feel good and be high. That
Right.
H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. And Denise, I'm so grateful that you're part of the Green Nurse team, that you are doing Energized Living, and that you're bringing Green Nurse retreats alive,
Yeah.
right? It's great. Really, really excited.
Yes. And
So
thank you.
before we end, I just want to remind people that we do have a community, the Green Nurse Holistic Caring Community. There's a link down below, I think. If not, I'll add one. We had some technical difficulties earlier today,
Okay.
but we want you to join the community. It's another really great opportunity for learning. It's a free community, the Holistic Caring Green Nurse Community, free introductory to cannabis, free patient portal, free patient support group, free book club, and a free monthly webinar. And you have access to us. All the podcasts are there. Denise is there. And we want you all to come. We're here. We care. We love you all. So Denise, any last words of wisdom before we sign off?
Oh, just, if you have an inkling about this, just allow yourself to receive it. Just be open. Don't put yourself in a box. It's time to get out of that box. Right now is the time. I know some of you probably are thinking, with after COVID and maybe have stirred some things up, in your mind and looking at your health and the way you live maybe differently. And you may just want to change things, because this way of healthcare is here to stay. Using cannabis, this holistic approach, we are going back to the way we were created. This is the way we were supposed to heal ourselves. We are doing these things to help our bodies heal itself. So give yourself a chance. Look at something new. If you're curious about it, just come, just come.
Yeah. And if not, we're going to be recording, and you'll be seeing us live, and that way you can come to the next one.
Come to the next one, or get in with the holistic care community, because there's always information with that. But just get out of that box. Time to break out of the box. It's time. It is time to break out of the box of your old beliefs and open up to something new.
Come with us. Come on a journey. We will hold
on a
your
journey
hand until you're ready to let go. So
right.
Remember, everyone, it's really all about living your best life and helping others do the same. We miss you, Nurse Mark, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I think I stopped it. I stopped the recording.